the only thing you have to do here is plug in the answer choices into your inequality. So if I start with the 70 and plug it into this inequality, t plus 12 is less than or equal to 84. And if I plug in 70 for t, 70 plus 12 is 82. And since 82 is less than or equal to 84, then A is my answer. On number 3, it says Paul needs to score higher than 174 to win his bowling tournament. He currently has a score of 42. Which of the following shows how many more points P that Paul needs to get to score higher than 174? Now remember that this symbol is greater than, and since we want more than 174, we have to have something greater than 174. And the only option that has that is B. And so B is your answer on that one. On number 7, which of the following describes the relationship between x and y? Okay, on this one, what you have to do is plug in your x values in this first column, in for x in your answer choices, A, B, C, and D. And then hopefully you'll get the y value that's in the second column. So we'll just start with 0 and start with part A. So we got y equals 3 times 0 plus 5. So 3 times 0 is 0, plus 5 is 5. So it should be 0, 5, which does work on that. So, but sometimes more than one will work for one of your choices. So we can go ahead and check the other choices, or we can check another choice within A. So if we choose this column, or this row instead, 2 and 11, we'll do 3, and we'll replace the x with 2 this time, plus 5. And then 3 times 2 is 6, and 6 plus 5 is 11. And that also works, so A ends up being our answer. Okay. On number 8, the graph below represents a relationship between x and y. So it says, which of the following represents that relationship according to that graph? Okay. So remember, if we have the form y equals mx plus b, b is our y-intercept. So the first thing we're going to look for is where does the line cross, or where's the dots cross the y-axis? And that's here at a positive 4. So somewhere on this problem, you should have a positive 4. Okay? And then remember that m is our slope, and our slope is our rise over our run. Okay. And so if I'm going over here at this dot on number 4, to get to the next dot I have to go down 1 and then to the right 1. So that's a negative 1 over 1x. Okay. And so we don't usually write that as a fraction, so it's just a negative x plus 4. Okay. And the only one that's like that is answer choice A. So they will let you do the 4, still positive, and the minus x. So answer choice A is the correct answer on that one. Okay, on number 9. Same process, and it actually is the same graph as problem the previous one. But it says, which of the following graphs represents that relationship y equals negative x plus 4? So again, we're going to look at our y-intercept is 4, so that should be here, so it can't be C. It should be here, so it can't be A. We have one on B, and we have one on D that cross the right spot. Okay, so then we have to look at our slope, which is negative 1 to the right one, so I go down 1 to the right one. So over here on D, that actually works. On B, it goes down 1 and to the left 1, and so up 1 to the right 1. So this would have been y equals x plus 4. And this is y equals negative x plus 4. And so D is our correct answer on number 9. Number 10. We're going to plug this one directly into your calculator. And so you're going to type it in just exactly the way it's written. And so when you get in your calculator, it's going to look just like that. So you'll hit 4, and then to do the exponent of -3, you hit the little housetop symbol that looks like this. It's right above the division sign on your calculator. And then you would hit -3. And then you would arrow out of that exponent, and then you hit parentheses, 3 to the second power, close parentheses, 4 to the third power. And the second power. And then your answer ends up being 9. So answer D. Okay. Number 11. Which of the following should be done first in the expression below? On these kinds of problems, we are using our order of operations. Remember, multiplication and division actually go together. You don't always multiply before you divide. Depends on what comes first, going from left to right. Same for addition and subtraction. So in this problem, we have a multiplication and we have a division. So we definitely don't do the subtraction first. Okay, so that marks out D complete. And so when we're going from left to right, we're going to multiply before we divide because multiplication is on the left. And so 13 times 2 is our first step on problem 11. Okay, on problem 13. It says a bicycle rental company charges customers a deposit of $3 plus an hourly rate as shown in the graph. What is the slope of the lines joining these points, and what does the slope represent? Okay. So to find the slope, we're going to use the slope formula, which is m equals y2 minus y1 over x2 minus x1. And the points they give us are the point 1, 4.5, and the point 8, 15. So the first point is always our 1, so that's x1 and y1. Second points are 2s, so x2 and y2. So I plug that into the slope formula, and I get 15 minus 4.5 over 8 minus 1, which is 10.5 over 7, which when you divide that out, you get 1.5. So our slope is 1.5. That marks out answer choice B and answer choice D. Okay. Now remember, another way of talking about slope is our rise over our run. So if you look back at the graph, our rise is over here on the left. That's our dollars. So in this problem, our dollars is on top, and our run is the x-axis, which is our hours. So hours are on bottom. So when we're looking at what does this represent, it represents dollars per hour. And so if I look on this, A says this means that a customer used the bike for 1.5 hours. C, this represents the rental charge of $1.50 per hour. And that right there is what works. So C is our answer on number 13. And so that's the multiple choice problems. Okay, so on your review sheet, that should be pages 1 through 4, and the rest of the problems will start at the bottom of page 4. That's our numeric response. So ones that you do not have answer choices for. Okay, so here is the first one. Like that. So number 1 says it costs a fixed fee of $12 plus $4.90 per hour to rent a chainsaw from a hardware store. The store sells the same chainsaw for $115. What is the minimum number of hours you would need to use the chainsaw in order to save money by purchasing it instead of renting it? Solve the inequality 12 plus 4.90h is greater than 115, where h is the number of rental hours to find the answer. Okay. So, what is the minimum number of hours? So first off, y'all, we're looking for a whole number. We're looking for hours. And we're not looking for a decimal. We're looking for the number of hours. And so if you're going to have to do this, you always have to round up, okay, on this one. So we got 12 plus 4.90h is greater than or equal to 115. So if we're trying to get h by itself, the first thing I want to get rid of is the 12. So I'm going to subtract 12 from both sides. That will cancel out the 12s on the left. And that gives me 4.90h is greater than or equal to 103. Okay. Next step to get h by itself is to divide by the 4.90. So h has to be greater than or equal to 103 divided by 4.90 is 21.02040816. And no, you do not have to write that whole number out. Remember I said earlier we're looking for the minimum number of hours. So 21 hours would not quite get you 1/15. That'd be too little. So you have to round up, and so the number of hours, the minimum, would be 22 hours. So if you rented it for 22 hours, it would save you money to purchase it instead of renting it. Okay, number 3. They give you an expression that can be used to convert a temperature in degrees Fahrenheit to the equivalent temperature in degrees Celsius. Use this expression to convert Monday's high temperature from degrees Fahrenheit to degrees Celsius. So we're going to use the 77 degrees, and that's Fahrenheit, so we're just going to replace the F in our expression with the 77. So we have 5 over 9, parentheses, 77 minus 32. Okay, and so you can plug this straight into your calculator using your fraction key, which remember that's alpha and y equals. And number 1 is just a fraction. So you hit 5 over 9, parentheses, 77 minus 32. Close parentheses, and you get 25 degrees Celsius. And so your answer is 25 degrees Celsius. And y'all remember, some of y'all like to just memorize answers. That's not going to help on this one because the numbers are going to be changing. The questions will stay the same. So you'll still have this expression you're going to fit, but instead of 77 degrees, it may give you 52 degrees or something like that instead. So just remember, don't get stuck on remembering or memorizing all the answers. You actually memorize how to work them. Okay, on this next one, this is number 5. Again, this is one of those problems you're just going to plug directly into your calculator the way it's written. So just in my calculator, I'm going to put 6 times 3 minus parentheses 12 divided by 4 raised to the first power, close parentheses to the first power, plus 4 raised to the third power. So give me just a second to type this in. And you should be able, if you type it in just like it's written, it should completely work with the correct answer and everything. So. And when you type that in, you should get 79 as your answer. Okay. Now a couple of shortcuts to kind of maybe keep it a little bit shorter. Anytime you raise something to the first power, it doesn't have to be done because if number without an exponent is raised to the first power. So I wouldn't really even need to put that up there. But if you do, it still gives you the same answer, so you don't have to worry. All right, number 6. Number 6 says tickets to the school play are $7 per adult, $4 per student. If 120 adult tickets are sold, 120 adult tickets and 87 student tickets are sold for the play, how much money was raised? Simplify the following expression to determine the answer in dollars. Yeah, this is actually not a bad problem because it gives you the expression. Okay? It could have easily, just as easily, not giving you the expression and try to get you to figure it out. So all you're going to do again is you're just going to plug an expression into your calculator. And you're going to say 7 times 120 plus 4 times 87. And when you plug that into your calculator, you should get 1,188. Now we're getting into the probability problems, a couple of those. So I give you the color of marbles and the number of times those marbles were I just pulled out of a bag. Oh no, that's how many marbles are in the bag. Okay? And so it says, refer to the table above, what is the probability that a student will pull any color marble but a blue colored one from a typical bag? So my successful outcomes are any of these that are not blue. Okay, so I'm going to add all of those up. So 7 plus 8 plus 10 plus 16. And remember, for probability, you always divide by the total. And so it's that exact same thing in the top, except I'm going to combine the 6 in there for the total. So 7 plus 8 plus 10 plus 6 plus 16. So on the top, 7 and 8 is 15. 15 and 10 is 25. 25 plus 16 is 41. And the bottom is the 41 plus that additional 6. And so that's 47. So the fraction is 41 over 47. And then what they ask us to do is take that answer and round it to the nearest hundred. And so just a reminder that on hundredths, the first decimal point is the tenths place, the second decimal point is the hundredths place. And so you in your calculator would do 41 divided by 47. And that gives you 0.8723. So the 7 is in the hundredth spot, and since the 2 is less than 5, we're going to leave the 7 just like it is. So it'll be 0.87. That's number 7. That's one of the probability problems. And number 8. Another probability problem says, Mr. Davidson brought a cooler containing drinks to his daughter's soccer game. There are 12 sports drinks, 7 cans of orange juice, and 5 sodas. If a drink is selected at random from the cooler, what is the probability that it is not a sports drink? Okay, so again, successful outcome over total outcomes. Okay, so the total is all these added together. So 12 plus 7 plus 5. So 12 plus 7 is 19, plus 5 is 24. And the success is all of these except we don't want a sports drink. So it's just the 7 and the 5. So 7 plus 5 is 12. Okay? And if I round that or divide that, 12 divided by 24 is 0.5. And it says round to the nearest thousandth if necessary. Well, thousandths is 3 places, so I don't need it because it's not necessary. So 0.5 is my probability that it will not be a sports drink. All right, next one. The table shows certain values of x and y for the equation 0 equals 4x to the third power minus y. What is the value of y when x equals 2? And so y'all, on this one, all you're doing is plugging in the 2 for x. Okay, and then finding out what y is. So we got 0 equals 4 times 2 to the third power minus y. And so if you want y by itself, move it to the other side, and there'll be a positive y over here, because 0 plus y is just y. Okay, and then on this side, we have 4, and then times 2 to the third power. So that's 2 times 2 times 2. So 2 times 2 is 4, times 2 is 8. So we have 4 times 8 is y, and 4 times 8 is 32. So my answer is 32. Number 11. The table below shows values of x and y for the equation negative x squared plus y equals 0. So we're doing the same exact kind of thing as we did on problem 9. So it wants to know, what is the value of y when x is 8? Okay. So on this one we have negative x squared plus y equals 0. And since I'm solving for y, I want to get it by itself. So the first thing I'm going to do is move that x squared to the other side by adding it to both sides. So I've got y equals x squared. Okay, that makes it a little easier because that negative sign out in front of that x is now gone. So all I need now is to plug x, or replace x with 8, and 8 squared is 64. So 64 is my answer on number 11. Okay, and then the last one, the graph below shows the declining profits of a local craft store. If the pattern continues, in what month will the store's profit be 0? Okay, so what I'm looking at here is how much is it going down every month. So each month it's going down one line, and one line is $20. Okay? So every month is $20. So right here is at 160. Okay? So I need to go, continues, what month will the store's profit be 0? So in month 6, it'll be 140. So in month 7, it'll be 120. Month 8, it'll be 100. Month 9 will be 80. Month 10 will be 60. Month 11 will be 40. 12 will be 20. And 13 will be 0. So in month 13, the profit will be 0. That's just by showing that I'm going down $20 every month. Now that is the review. So if you have any questions, you may either email me or question me as soon as class begins tomorrow. But do not expect there to be a lot of time for that. Thanks, y'all.